These simple triangles can save you a ton of work in your garden. Let me show you why. Hello and welcome back to Sanctuary Gardens. I'm Jolene. I have my son eating over here, so if he runs in and out, don't be surprised. So what is it with these cardboard triangles that makes gardening so easy? This is a trick that I learned from my father on how to plant intensively. Commercial growers plant things in rows, so that their tractor tires and equipment can get through between the rows and not, trample plants. We tend to think of planting things, we tend to think of just straight rows, and a lot of people still garden that way at home, but it isn't the most efficient use of garden space. And so by planting in beds such as I have here, rows really leaves a lot of extra space that isn't used. And so by doing intensive planting, I'm able to utilize every square inch of my garden. My onions planted behind me here are planted exactly 6 inches apart. And I could take out a measuring tape and try to measure everything perfectly, or just kind of eyeball it. And those are fine if someone chooses to do that. But by using my 6-inch triangle, I guarantee that all of my onion plants are exactly 6 inches apart. Let me show you. So here's my 6-inch triangle, and I'm just gonna lay it down between my onion plants, and look at that. Look how perfectly they are exactly 6 inches apart. This works well for plants such as my strawberries here. If I put this 12-inch triangle down, you can see that I have a plant at each corner. They are spaced exactly 12 inches apart. And here is my garlic, spaced exactly 8 inches apart, give or take. They've grown a lot, so look how huge this is. I mean, that's huge. It's gonna be a big clove. Now you're probably also wondering, Jolene, how do I make these triangles? Well, let me show you how to do that. Here is the cardboard we are going to use. I have another piece of cardboard underneath, so that when I'm cutting this with the X-Acto knife, I don't accidentally cut anything underneath there. So I'm going to be making a triangle that is 10 inches long. You have the 10 here. I'm just going to create a line that goes all the way to the 10 there. Perfect. So now we're going to mark halfway between whatever your measurement is. So for 10, it's going to be 5, and I'm going to put a little mark right there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a right angle. I'm going to use this cardboard box as to create that right angle. We're just going to create a line that goes all the way from that mark that we made at the 5-inch mark all the way up. Straight line. Wait, hello. I'm going to put the beginning of the ruler at the corner here of the triangle, and then I'm going to find where the 10 inches is at, and I'm going to bring it to where it meets the line. And then I'm going to create a line there. That is what I need next. Thank you, bud. Same here. I'm going to bring the 10 there. All right, and that's our perfect 10 inches. And now for cutting. Here we go. Label this 10 inches. Now, one of the questions that I'm sure you have is, how do I know how far apart to plant these plants? How do I know what size triangle to use? Let me show you. So I'm going to show you 2 different seed packets. Both of these I'm planting today. Now this I'm planting as a transplant. It is started already in my house, but it's actually outside, fully hardened off. And this here is corn that I will be sowing directly in the ground. So first of all, you always look on the back, and you see here there's several different information things here on the back. And the thing you're looking for is plant spacing. This says 12 inches apart. So I'm going to be planting the jigsaw peppers 12 inches apart, which kind of seems, I don't know, it kind of seems like a lot of space. This bodacious corn here I'm going to be planting. Now this one is interesting because here you'll see it says seed spacing 4 inches apart, but then you thin the plants to 8 to 12 inches apart. So as you can see, after they have sprouted, and of course sometimes you get some that sprout and some that don't, the idea is that you will thin them 8 to 12 inches apart. Here's a rule of thumb that I use. I ignore this completely, and I go to this one. And I will sometimes, if I'm concerned that I will have poor germination, I will just plant 2 seeds in each spot. And I'll show you how I do that. This is our large raised garden bed that we're gonna be planting corn in. And I'm decided I'm going to use a 10-inch triangle, spacing my plants 10 inches apart. Like I showed you before, I can do anywhere from 8 to 12 inches. And I decided I'm just gonna go smack in the middle. Corn is one of those that does really well with this triangle because they need to be spaced apart perfectly and compactly enough so that they can have cross-pollination. I have never grown corn here in the Pacific Northwest before. I did in California and Idaho with my dad. And so this is something completely new for me. It's actually a little bit too early to be planting this, but I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go with a little bit of succession planting. So I'm gonna plant some this week, 2 weeks later I'm gonna plant some more, 2 weeks later plant more, and see exactly when does my corn do best. Let me bring you up close and show you how we do this. This is how we do this. Da, 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 da. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a line right here at this edge. And this is gonna be the start of where I place my triangle. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place the corn seeds about 2 inch or 2 of them at each corner of the triangle, and my son is of course going to move them. Here we go. Perfect. And now I'm not going to put them into the ground. I'm going to leave them up so I can see exactly where they're at. And I'm going to place my triangle right here. And then what I'm going to do is use these 2 that are right here as the start of my next section and place 2 seeds here. Someone's not happy. And then place those there. And I'm just gonna keep going down the way like this. Now, when I've gotten to the end and I'm ready to do my next row, I am going to place a triangle with those 2 at those corners and then place those up there. Because I don't wanna waste this space, I'm going to place my 1 corner there. And yes, I can't plant any here, but I can right there. There we go. Something key when you're planting seeds with this method, direct sowing, is to not plant, push the seeds down into the soil until you've completed that entire area. So that way you can use the previous seeds to kind of guide you where you're going. So now I'm showing you how we can utilize these triangles with transplants. Now I only have 4 of these plants. I could have planted more, but we don't use a ton of these peppers. They're pretty small. So anyway, I just put these at each corner there. And so yeah, that's pretty easy, pretty simple. I'm gonna be digging a hole right here. Beautiful root system here. Hope you learned something new today. If you're going to end up using these triangles, please leave a comment down below and let me know if you do and how it works for you. I found that this one tip has made gardening so much easier for me. If you did find this video helpful, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe button as well so you don't miss our future content. And thanks for joining me today. Go out and grow something. God bless. This is the only way that sometimes I'm able to do some filming is snack time or nap time.